1.5 years ago, I released my first video where I defended Dragon Ball Super's animation. And at first, it didn't really grow. But suddenly, on day 11, it blew the fuck up! No, but seriously, thank you all so much for the support that this video got. I honestly probably would not be here right now if it was not for it. I initially made this channel as a literal joke, but it ended up becoming something way bigger, and that is all thanks to you guys. Now be sure to subscribe or you will need to face Giga Chad Maki. Actually, y'all would probably like that. So subscribe or you'll get stabbed in the back by a creepy grandma. Shit. Some of you would probably like that too, you freak. So the Dragon Ball Super remake was officially announced. But the immediate question I'm sure is on everybody's mind is, do we really need an entire remake for Dragon Ball Super? Why not just start off with the Mora arc from the manga? I mean, sure, the anime had some weird animation moments, but why don't we just let bygones be bygones and move on to the future of Dragon Ball? And though at first I thought the exact same thing, the more I looked into it, the more I realized how much this remake was actually needed. Now, first and foremost, the obvious reason for this remake is the animation. Now, without completely covering the exact same subject all over again in my previous video that I made over a year ago, which you should definitely check out if you haven't already, by the way, essentially what happened is that when Dragon Ball Super was first released nearly a decade ago, holy shit am I old, the animators essentially got a pogo stick shoved up their ass, and as a result, in episode 5, we got Goku as an advertisement as a free listing on Temu. The animators were basically put through absolute time crunch hell to get this anime pumped out as quickly as possible. And it was so absurd to the point that the anime literally got ahead of the manga. And overall, Dragon Ball Super before the tournament power was just super inconsistent throughout. But in my opinion, it was always clear that the potential for the animation to be great was there, given how many small moments we got of really great animation. But the problem is that it ended up being buried by a ton of mediocre moments spread throughout. But through getting more efficient with their production and better scheduling, they managed to pull off the Tournament of Power and give us some of the greatest animation that the community had ever seen, and essentially put Super back on track to breaking the literal internet. And this is largely the reason why Dragon Ball Super's animation divided the fandom. Because you basically got people from the Z era defending the old art style, which was more gritty, it had blood, and supposedly more consistent and better animation, versus the people who defended Dragon Ball Super, a more modernized version of Dragon Ball, which tended to take a step back from some of the things introduced in Z, but also managed to introduce movies such as the Broly movie, which pushed the animation to its absolute limit. But ultimately, I don't think Super was given the time and resources they needed to realize the full potential of the animation. And though the Tournament of Power managed to rebuild some of the reputation that was lost, it's still clear that to this day, that Dragon Ball Super is usually referenced in the Dragon Ball fandom as having bad animation. But clearly, if given the time and resources, the animators of Dragon Ball can make some of the absolute most masterful pieces of animation that I have ever seen. So what if the actual series of Dragon Ball Super was just redone to showcase that? Then we can once and for all get Goku removed from the Temu listing and placed on the Bandai Namco shelves. I can finally have some realism for my drawing! Wait, that might actually be right. Not only will we get absolutely sexy animation and better pacing for the new anime, but we would also be able to correct the continuity problem created between the anime and the manga. Oh, got it. At least I hope we do. Because you see, the manga being released after the anime caused for there to be two separating timelines between both mediums, which caused both to be severely different. And as a result, we end up getting weird moments, such as Goku not going Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken in the Broly movie, because the movie probably follows the manga continuity. Not to mention that post-Dragon Ball Super actually does follow the manga. So, are they just gonna follow the manga continuity from now on? Or Are they going to try to mix in the best parts from the anime and the manga? Well, personally, I hope for the sake of the remake that they try to implement that last option. Because if they did, it would look something like this. Battle of Gods. It would mostly be the same, except for the ending. Because the anime and movie have Goku prematurely lose Super Saiyan God, but in the manga, he doesn't actually lose the power of Super Saiyan God. He actually keeps the transformation the entire time until the very end of their fight. Also in the manga, Beerus tells Goku directly that he will have to destroy the Earth another time. Well, in the movie, Goku gives up, falls to the Earth, Beerus destroys a rock, then says the line. Or the anime, where Goku gives every last ounce of strength, falls to the Earth, and Beerus basically does the same thing while looking at him disrespectfully like he's a Pokemon Tier 3 sim sub. But overall, what does the remake actually accomplish other than better pacing and animation in this sense? Well, Beerus' power level not getting specifically mentioned, so the power scaling actually makes sense for the rest of the series. Bonus round of other small things I'd like to see. Champa actually shows up in the manga, which works as a pretty great foreshadow for the next arc. Vegeta is actually practicing his bingo dance in preparation for Beerus not blowing up the Earth. Oh, what an absolute stand-up family man! Resurrection F. Okay, listen. This arc is trash in the anime. It's not even mentioned in the manga. In the movie, being the most mediocre movie in the entirety of Super's lineup is the literal second best way to consume this movie. Because the absolute best way to consume it is to just not. Honestly, you can skip this arc completely and nothing changes. And you can't even get me this time, Fred, because this is the manga and there is nothing here. You greedy, foxy, furry fuck. Well, technically the Resurrection F arc was mentioned in a flashback when Goku comes to retrieve Frieza from his cocoon. And this is the literal only justification you can give for Resurrection F's existence. Universe 6. Now this is where the main differences between the anime and manga start to become the most apparent. Because sure, both the anime and manga show Champa having a mukbang eating competition with his brother, where he comes to the realization that he desperately needs to transition away from American food and instead replace it with Japanese food like the big back he is. But Beerus doesn't like that, because the universe just ain't big enough for two big backs. So they hold a tournament. But something the manga provides instead of a basic hand swatting contest before they propose this idea is a flashback of a universal battle where literal planets are being destroyed while Beerus and Champa are just flying around in outer space because they are battling over birthday cake. And I honest to God hope that we get to see something at least similar to this in the remake, because that would just be absolutely incredible. Like, this fight is absolutely lit. Toy, please! And another notable difference that the remake could provide is a better explanation for the Super Saiyan Blue drainage that Vegeta went through. Because you see, in both the anime and the manga, Bro gets front and back shots of the century from hit, while Goku in base, or in Super Saiyan in the manga, is actually putting the pause on him. But why is that? Well, other than the typical Vegeta syndrome, it's essentially because he fought multiple dudes in a row and decided to flex Super Saiyan Blue for Kaba-san. And as a result, by the time he was fighting against Hit, he was only actually operating at 10% of Super Saiyan Blue's power, which in my opinion was much better explained in the manga. So low-key, I hope they use that version's explanation instead, because it also sets up for a future character development moment for Vegeta, but we'll get back into that later. Because another thing the remake can do is actually use Super Saiyan God as the primary transformation instead of Blue. I mean, that would make the most sense given that Super Saiyan Blue is a literal powerhouse, but it would be hard to tell that in the original Super anime given how often it's bitch made. But the limitation they put on Blue in the manga, at least initially, is the massive stamina drain. And I love this change because for one, it gives Super Saiyan God more screen time, and two, it makes Super Saiyan Blue actually look cool because instead of using it for power and nothing else, Goku can use it at strategic moments so that he can catch his opponents off guard, which is exactly what he does in the manga. Another stark difference is that in the anime, Goku quits the tournament to spite the gods, and also because he got an arm cramp after watching Hotel Housemaid. Well, in the manga, Bro gets cocky after he lands like 3 shots against hit and accidentally activates his inner cha-cha real smooth and slides out the ring. Having a remake for this arc could benefit the show by allowing us to see more of Super Saiyan God and making Super Saiyan Blue actually feel more exclusive. Now granted, we don't end up getting Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken from the anime in the manga, which does suck, but also we end up getting an equivalent later on in the manga. Bonus round of other small things I'd like to see. We get the penguin who broke off from the pack, exploring the mountains until he eventually made it to Japan, into Dragon Ball Super, so that he could join this tournament to sing the national anthem. We are Goku being annoyed at Gohan for not training again. Hit. Do I need to get you guys a room, or? Goku Black. Now, this is where we could potentially see the most changes in the remake. Because first in foreskin, the anime version of the show currently shows Goku Black beating up Super Saiyan 2 Trunks, Super Saiyan 2 Goku, and Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta in base form, which makes literally no sense unless you have a Vegeta episodic ass-beating quota. But if we contrast this with the manga, Black at least needs to go Super Saiyan 2 in order to match closer to Vegeta. And it by no means is a one-sided fight. In fact, for a while, they actually give Vegeta his flowers and allow him to cook Goku Black. At least until, of course, Goku Black turned into Super Saiyan Rose in this gorgeous panel and finally cooks Vegeta. Now, another change the remake could bring on is more information related to Zamasu, because we don't really get all that much from the anime. But in the manga, we actually get to see him training against Kibito, and I honestly think this would be a really great addition to add into the remake, because we low-key don't get the opportunity to see any of the Supreme Kais do actual martial arts training. Hell, I don't think I've ever actually seen Kibito fight. But what is also neat about this lore dump is the fact that Zamasu is literally mentioned to have been a King Kai at one point, the Northern Lord of Google Maps. Not to mention him literally having the King Kai fit. Like, this is so cool! Speaking of Supreme Kais, another possible change we can get in the remake is that instead of Trunks getting the cringe, ass-pulled Super Saiyan Rage transformation, we could instead have Trunks train under the Supreme Kais and learn some unique abilities, such as his ability to heal Goku, and provide Vegeta with another character development moment where he can actually acknowledge Goku as the stronger one. Oh, yeah! Character development! But speaking of Vegeta character development, remember what I mentioned earlier in the Universe 6 saga in relation to Vegeta's Super Saiyan Blue stamina drain? Well, what he does to correct this mistake is in his second fight with Goku Black, instead of just burning through Super Saiyan Blue all over again, he actually uses it in increments while using Super Saiyan God as the default transformation. Now look, I know these moments are small, but they clearly show how the characters are actually developing and using their battle IQ and actively learning from their mistakes instead of just being a brute dunce at all times. Speaking of stupid brute dunces, something that people complain about a lot in Super is stupid Super Goku. And you know what? Fair enough. The remake has the opportunity to tone down these moments a little bit, and in particular with the evil containment wave. Because originally, Goku completely forgets the talisman altogether, even though it is literally the most important part of the technique. Like, what the actual hell, Goku? But how about instead of this happening out of his pure dumbassery, this happens because Master Roshi, an old man, had a free coupon to a barbershop when he's fucking bald, and he accidentally left that coupon in place of the talisman, so Goku accidentally brought that with him instead. Honestly, I feel like that mistake is much more understandable. It makes Goku look a lot less like a dumbass. Also, does anyone remember in the anime when Goku could randomly run the one solo with fused Zamasu for some reason? Well, another thing the remake could do to give a better explanation for something like this is have Goku discover how to perfect Super Saiyan Blue by containing all the energy within himself, effectively becoming a Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken equivalent. Oh, but most of all, the remake could showcase Goku picking up on the fucking Hakai to bomb Zamasu's ass to the Redditor echo chambers. Which I know is ruined like 2 seconds later because the manga just insists on making Zeno a get out of jail free card. Like, why do I even try? Bonus round of other small things I'd like to see. Goku once again disses Gohan. And look, at this point, I think he would much rather Trunks just be his son. But also, I find it odd that Goku criticizes Gohan so much in the manga, because we got actual evidence of Gohan actually putting in work and training after Resurrection F. Like, look, Goku, what more do you want from the guy? He's at least trying, okay? Me and the boys play Mario Kart, and to keep things lore accurate, I am future Trunks getting first place. And my best buddy is canonically Beerus, because bro loses so bad that he goes on his 20-minute training arc.
Please, I need the Xenoverse 2 Pro Controller for Mario Kart Wii.
Goku not kissing is officially canon thanks to the manga. Vegeta, if you had one moment, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip?
Can I be Kakarot's first?
Zamasu, do I need to get you a room? 20 minutes? 20 seconds? Tournament of Power. Now, honestly, the Tournament of Power for the most part in the anime was really damn good. It was probably the best part of Dragon Ball Super. However, that doesn't mean that improvements couldn't be made, such as Jiren's characterization, because in the anime, we didn't really get a whole lot of background information on him. We basically just learned that he is the #1 jerkmate master and a national brick wall aura farmer. In the manga, however, we actually get shown his heroic actions and explanations about his reasoning for entering the tournament in the first place. And I feel like this initial development could have helped out his character feel fleshed out a bit more, and not just a Batman backstory. However, I wouldn't simply go 1-for-1 with the manga on this one, because Jiren doesn't really pose nearly as much of a threat as he does in the anime. The way I look at it, I think the introduction to Jiren in the manga was much better, but the anime did the middle and end parts of the Tournament of Power handling Jiren's character way better. Now, speaking of characterization, Kale is another example where I feel once again that she could have been handled better. And honestly, both the anime and the manga once again, because the anime makes her look like a pushover, but the manga actually shows that she can run hands. And the anime makes her berserk form look like she's just like Broly 2.0, but the manga gives it a more feminine appearance. But on the other hand, the manga Berserk Kale literally eliminates multiple universes at once, while in the anime, she is dealt with rather quickly before she can cause further damage. And honestly, I don't really like that. Eliminating entire universes just to make one character look stronger that isn't even the main antagonist is honestly not worth it. It just feels like wasted potential. The anime version actually uses all these characters as a gradual but definite build-up to the final jerkmate round against Jiren, but the manga just casts all of them aside, especially the giant robot thing. Like, what? And finally, the biggest change the remake could do in the Tournament of Power is how they handle Ultra Instinct. Now, honestly, an argument can be made between whether the anime did it better or the manga did it better, and that is because the anime is just pure hype. Goku literally clashing with Jiren in Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20, desperately pushing himself to the absolute limit in their Spirit Bomb struggle, and pushing himself so hard that they literally create a black hole from the pressure. And the Spirit Bomb blowing up right in front of Goku acts as a catalyst for him to come back from the dead and achieve Ultra Instinct for the first time. This shit was so hype that it literally broke the internet, caused the cartel levels to reach 0% for a full month, and most of all, I lost my No Nut November streak. But if you think about it more logically with how Ultra Instinct works, basically being pure mastery of martial arts, it doesn't really make sense why a Spirit Bomb blowing up in Goku's face would allow him to achieve it. So in that way, the manga would technically handle Ultra Instinct better, since Master Roshi, a master of martial arts, literally shows Goku how to achieve it by briefly running the Fade with Jiren after maintaining his No Nut November streak for 3 days. And because of this learning experience, Goku manages to unlock it himself before he gets eliminated by Jiren. Which, don't get me wrong, it's cool, but I honestly think the anime is a lot cooler. And to be honest, what I feel like the remake should do is mostly stick with the anime, but maybe have better explanations for how Goku managed to achieve Ultra Instinct in the first place. I also hope that for the remake that they maintain the anime's ending, because the manga is just kind of like, oh, the tournament of power is ending soon. Okay, first and foreskin, let us throw away Vegeta. The bit. Have Goku hold Jiren down at a full Nelson like he did to his brother Raditz a long time ago. And then Frieza can sacrifice himself to take himself, Goku, and Jiren out of the ring simultaneously. Oh, but do not fret, because it just so happens that the entire time, 17 was alive. Oh! Yippee! I mean, look, it goes without saying that I honestly prefer the 3v1 that we got in the anime's ending, because it was just so much more hype. The amount of synergy and teamwork needed to overcome Jiren that was developed throughout the duration of the Tournament of Power finally coming together to end him once and for all was just simply beautiful. Bonus round of other small things I'd like to see. Vegeta actually refights Beerus in the manga after perfecting Super Saiyan Blue and ends up actually landing a hit on him. But ultimately, Vegeta reminded Beerus of his Mario Kart losing streak, so he low-key crashes the fuck out. Piccolo gets eliminated by this same damn bug in both the anime and the manga. Like, can the remake please do something so that bro doesn't get royally cucked by a cockroach again? Oh yeah, also the Lorax never even gets turned into the Great Deku Tree in the manga. Huh. Frieza also gets called a Golden Twink in the manga, so he can finally join his best friend 17 at one of his drag shows. And that's not even a fucking joke, but that basically covers the entirety of Dragon Ball Super. If we look at what the remake could do for the series as a whole, what does it actually provide? Well, to summarize, it basically provides better mechanics for Super Saiyan Blue, making it feel much more badass and exclusive, while also providing more screen time for Super Saiyan God, which honestly just makes more sense, because why would they cuck it after literally one arc? Characters getting more lore and build-up, such as Beerus and Champa fighting on a universal scale, Zamasu being a North Kai and training with Kibito, Jiren actually having a personality, and Kale not looking like a total pansy. The remake is also presented with the opportunity for Ultra Instinct to be explained better, without hopefully losing the hype aura points that the anime version managed to build up, and overall really cool concepts, such as Goku using the Hakai, perfected Super Saiyan Blue, and Trunks learning unique abilities from the Supreme Kais. The remake not only has the potential to make some of these changes, but it also has the opportunity to see the shortcomings of both the anime and the manga, and to make creative choices that can steer the story in the correct direction. But most of all, it will once and for all clear up the tons of confusion in the Dragon Ball community over which continuity is technically canon or not. And as a bonus, we get glorious animation that makes me wanna blah. But how does this affect the series after Dragon Ball Super? Well, honestly, it gives the Super anime an opportunity to start on a fresh, not confusing foot. Because if the story were to be adapted to be much more manga accurate, for example, then arcs such as Superhero, Broly, and the moral arc can be allowed to flow much more smoothly without confusion. Especially the Broly movie, given that Goku didn't use Kaioken in the movie, which confused a lot of people, including myself. Plus, the remake could clear up some plot holes introduced with Daima, such as that time where they introduced the Demon Realm, Goku casually got Super Saiyan 4 pulled out of his ass, but then it was never explained in any other Dragon Ball continuity again. A small change such as this being at least mentioned in the remake could be greatly beneficial. Or we could just... But in conclusion, these are just some of the reasons why the remake for Dragon Ball Super is absolutely necessary. I am so hyped for what this series has to offer. Dragon Ball Super is officially back, baby! I don't need to worry about making false predictions anymore! We got the return of Dragon Ball Super before GTA 6! And don't worry, when the time comes, I will be there to cover it. I will be there to make sure that the next Goku and Vegeta love is canon. But until then, thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.